Hi, and welcome to another presentation from your business tutor, learning your way, anytime, anywhere. Although dealing with climate change is a huge driver of ethical production, it would also be reasonable to say that so is the concept of treating those involved in the productive process fairly and equitably. So with that, let's introduce today's presentation on the non-environmental measures organisations have introduced to support ethical production. Okay, so what are we going to learn in this presentation? Well, first of all, we're going to find out what ethical production is. Then we're going to investigate non-environmental methods used in ethical production. And then we're going to explore the advantages and disadvantages of those non-environmental methods. Okay, let's get started by asking, what is ethical production? As we have previously discussed, ethical production refers to a way of producing products that ensures the impact on the environment and society is minimised. However, as we are about to find out, ethical production is also about ensuring those involved in the productive process are treated fairly and equitably. Given this, let's look at non-environmental measures a business could use to support ethical production. One of the most common ways an organisation guarantees ethical production within its own business is by ensuring it treats all its employees fairly and equally. For example, this would include providing safe working conditions, good pay and training for all staff. This can be really beneficial because it won't just help a business attract and retain the best staff, but also will reduce the likelihood of employees getting injured while at work. In fact, taking this ethical approach to production will also ensure that a business is compliant with all the relevant laws relating to wages and health and safety, which will help it maintain a positive reputation amongst the general public. However, although staff motivation and productivity may also be enhanced, it does need to be remembered that additional costs will be incurred. For example, paying staff their real living wage, providing training and purchasing equipment that results in a safer workplace involves a significant investment which increases a business's costs and may force them to increase prices. Now, this is all fine if competitors are taking the same action, but if they are not, using ethical production methods could make a business uncompetitive. Having said that, a number of customers are now willing to pay extra for products which are ethically produced, especially when a business ensures it treats its suppliers fairly as well. For example, many organisations put agreements in place with their suppliers which mean the working conditions and wages staff receive are of a satisfactory standard, but also that child labour is never used and that employees do not work above a certain number of hours. However, although taking such an approach does increase a business's costs, meaning prices will have to be increased, using such methods does attract customers and enhances an organisation's reputation. In fact, many businesses have formalised their approach to this by signing up to the Fair Trade Foundation guidelines, which ensures producers and farmers in developing countries are treated fairly and ethically. For example, by participating in fair trade, a business agrees to pay a fair price that is at least equal to the market price so that suppliers can provide good wages and decent working conditions to their own employees, but also so they have enough to sustainably operate their business from year to year. A big advantage of this is that by participating in the scheme, a business is allowed to put the Fair Trade Foundation logo on its products, which obviously can help with advertising and promoting their products to ethically conscious customers, which will increase sales. However, although fair trade means a business's administrative costs will rise, as it will have to deal with a larger number of small producers to obtain the supplies it wants, it should be noted that such costs, including the higher price that is paid to suppliers, can be passed on to consumers. This is because customers realise that the extra they pay for fair trade products is not to boost a multinational's profits, but rather to support farmers and producers in developing countries. Nevertheless, although what has been discussed so far supports ethical production, many businesses have also looked at their internal operations to improve further. For example, many organisations have put in place measures which reduce the levels of waste they create by improving quality assurance throughout their business. And equally, many businesses have improved the way they manage inventory levels to ensure that stock is always used in production before it goes out of date and has to be thrown away. However, although reducing waste will cut a business's costs, putting in place such measures can be challenging and expensive, especially if new equipment or software needs to be purchased and staff trained to use it. Okay, so what did we learn in this presentation? Well, first of all, we found out what ethical production is. Then we went on to investigate non-environmental methods used in ethical production. And then finally, we explored the advantages and disadvantages of those non-environmental methods. The concept of ethical production has grown so rapidly over the last few years that many organisations have formulated policies to outline their approach in this area. However, as positive a step as this is, it always needs to be remembered that an organisation will not be judged on the policies it has, but rather the actions they take and the effects they have.